Why, thank you. Okay, guys, evening. I won't obviously go through each and every one of you. Good evening, but good evening to you all. Thanks for attending tonight. I know it's a Friday night and the weekend's here, and we'll all be delighted to get back to playing football this weekend. So without further ado, I'll go straight into it. Obviously, our plans for the new season and what we're trying to do as a football club. I'm just going to shorten my screens on the right-hand side if I can, so as I don't see you all. No, there's nothing wrong with seeing you, but I'm taking up some of my screen. So, guys, basically, bottom line is what we want to do next season. And obviously, you know, the plan was originally to go with Newton, where I was working originally. But this is what we're looking at doing next season. And regardless of that, was having a Cheltenham under-18s team, having our men's under-19s with the college program, a men's team and a ladies team. So those are going ahead, and the one we're going to talk about tonight will be the Cheltenham under-18s, but also linking a little bit in with the college program that we do as well, guys, just so that you've got an idea what we're happening and how we're going to try and run it as well, so as you've got an idea. Obviously, everything we do at Cheltenham is through the Northern Star, which is one of those things about aspire to be the best that you can be. And it's something that we try and do as an academy, that we do through our development centre, which obviously a lot of what I say tonight may be because of that. But because we're recording this will go out to others that don't know that. So it's just to give you an idea of what we're going to try and offer next season. Obviously, again, these are just images on screen of when we played our games this season at home in Hereford against our other EFL clubs. Again, using the same academy values that we work to within our centre and within the academy, especially as we're now working together. And again, we look at the academy values. And just one on that, I have just doing something with the college programme. We did it last year. We're doing it again in a couple of weeks' time, is to be a high performance. What does it require to be a high performance? Somebody wants admitting, and I can't admit. Can I admit? Is that admitted in my own place? Sorry, guys. What does it require to be a high performer? So, and we're doing this with the college now. So I've given them that they've got to speak at the front of the classroom for 3 minutes. They've got to give me 3 non-negotiables that they want in life that they've got to work by. And I'll start it off. I'll do it to first. So as you know, I'll deliver first of all, and then they've got to deliver the same things. I'll tell them 3 things about myself that they possibly don't know, and then 3 non-negotiables. And again, we look at these academy values. The Y's are on the left-hand side, is the similar things that what they'll probably be working towards, to be fair. Just on that, again, this is what is the under-18 and what is the BTEC college program for. We do it for late developers that have got that chance, to give them a chance to go into men's football pathway. Because if you go straight from 16s and stop, for the lads, then they've got to go and find new clubs, got to find different options. And to be honest, it's not great for them. So hence why we're trying to do this, to give them a higher standard, and also to give them that opportunity to go in and play with other EFL clubs. Again, just a little bit of a presentation that we normally do. This is the education model that we look at producing. Obviously, there's the dream, is the first team contract. And listen, it has happened. You know, I've been doing this. We first started in 2013 was our first year, when we did a development centre over in Cheltenham, and I was part of that over there. And, you know, one of those lads is, 2 of them are pros now. One's with Portsmouth, one's with Bristol City. So it does work. They didn't get a scholarship, but they got into our development program and come through. So it just gives you a little example that those opportunities, that it does happen, but we're also realistic in it. So under-18 team next season. Obviously, the new decision. The reason, and I'll just briefly touch on it, why I left the football club and resigned, was because, unfortunately for me, the environment to bring our players through and our coaching staff, which we were bringing in, was the wrong environment. I wanted it to work. I thought I could change it, but unfortunately, just a bit of stumbling block when we got near the top, that we couldn't change it. And I had to make the awful decision that actually it's not going to work. And it was a case of, I could have probably let it go on and rumbled it on, but it wasn't for the long-term development of our players, which ultimately that's my responsibility and the football club's responsibility. So we looked at it, and what was very nice, within, you know, a couple of weeks, we've had, you know, 3 options that have come in and 1 since then. But our decision, we had to base around predominantly what our 16s were going to do next season, because obviously we talked about the new and under 18s, etc., and that pathway. So we had to make a decision on the clubs that had come in, discussed with myself about potentially going there to help them. Does this help our 18? So we had to try to liaise something else. And what I wanted to look at, they needed to be local. They needed to be based in Hereford because that's where we're running our centres from. They needed to have facilities of step 5, step 6 because of playing Midland floodlit or Cheltenham floodlit, basically under floodlights. You've got to have that sort of standard as a club. They needed to be ambitious as ourselves as a football club. They needed to be forward thinking. They needed to have a senior team and a reserve team at a level that our boys can step into, you guys. And, you know, a plus to it was we wanted them to own their facilities, not hire, so we could look at the longevity. We threw around loads of ideas. Obviously, we went through all the clubs in Hereford, and as staff, we looked at it and we threw every idea out there. And the one that we've come up with, and we like to think is the right decision, is based where we've been before, which is Hinton. Now, we've been there before as Cheltenham when Hereford closed our academy. Somebody wants to come in. Sorry, guys, 2 secs. Just trying to admit somebody. So we've been there before, as I said. When the academy was closed at Hereford on us, we decided, right, okay, we wanted to put an under 18s. I went back to Cheltenham where I'd previously worked for 5 years. They were embracing the idea, and so we went to Hinton and running under 18s. That's the current setup at Hinton. That's on the left-hand side is the front of the changing rooms on either side, and also the teas and coffees which they offer on the facilities there. And then there's that's as you pull in is the car park there, and there's the back of the changing rooms. It's a great little setup. It's a great little facility. It can host pro clubs, obviously. When we were at Hereford, I went with the first team when we played Hinton in the County Cup, and we used these change rooms, so it can do it. It can certainly offer that. But what is great in terms of we've had one Zoom meeting with them. We've had a number of conversations, but we had one Zoom meeting, me and the James and Daz, about how we want to progress it. Could it work, etc., regarding our players. They ticked all those boxes that I said about as an ambitious club, forward thinking, owning their facilities, clubs at senior level.
Don't come in.
I need to give you a sock.
As
Put outside the door. Put outside the door.
Okay. You change it.
I recognise that voice. I'm not going to embarrass you, Mr. Hipple.
I'm in a meeting.
Guys, and so what we wanted them to think was where their senior teams were. Their senior team is in the Herefordshire Prem, which is step 7, and their reserve team is in obviously a couple of leagues below that. So it's a pathway that some of our boys have already gone above this season, obviously playing for us at Newen at step 6, but also our reserves that played at step 7. So it's a pathway that we think we can affect in terms of the football club. Spoken with the football club, and in terms of getting our players into the pathway into their men's team, they're more than happy to help that. And, you know, and there are progressions. You know, you can get promoted out of the Herefordshire Prem into step 6, which is the league that Newent are in, that Peggy were in last season. So there is a pathway, and they're embracing the idea that Cheltenham want to come and help them with players, but also with staff as well. So, for example, if 3 of our 16s got into their first team, you know, which could be by the end of the season, because we're going to try and arrange a friendly between their development side and you guys before the end of the season. And just to give us an idea of where they're at, etc., and where we think our players are based. I mean, I know, without being rude, that most of you will get in and probably into the first. But that's, you know, a pathway that we're just going to build. But they want us to help with staff as well in terms of, so if we had 4 or 5 of you playing on a Saturday afternoon for Hinton first, and then one of our coaches was available, they would come along and support that coach as well. But another thing that was absolutely great, guys, that we loved was they've actually got planning on a grant to put up a new clubhouse. So again, this is the front of the building. So if we go back to that one, so where that place is there, they've got planning a 300,000 grant to put in this new home base there. Which again is fantastic. And again, like I said, looking at that there, that's the view of the pitch there from up on the bank on outside the dugouts. If I go to, I'm jumping through all the slides here because I haven't got a clue what I'm doing, by the way. If I click on this one now, does that change your screen, guys? Just give me a no. Can you not see a YouTube video coming up? No. Okay. Will, I love your nodding. It helps. Great. Okay. What I'll do is I'll see if I can share the screen with the YouTube video. Okay, is that YouTube on screen now? Yeah, thank you, Lloydie. We'll stop nodding, so I'll go with Lloydie. Emily's iPhone admitting. Okay, so this is when we were Hereford under 18, Cheltenham under 18s, and this is playing at Hinton. So this is obviously us in the red and white, just to give you an idea, guys. because all the games obviously will be filmed as they are now. Well, at the moment, they're not all filmed for you under 16s, but every game at the under 18s is filmed because it's midweek, and we video the footage and we go back to it and we do all sorts of little clips and little highlights. I think this was a game, I think it was Bromsgrove or Starport or something like that. I can't remember top of my head. But again, it gives you an idea. Great facilities, under lights, in Hereford, where we want to be, because we're a Hereford-based centre. And at the end of the day, you know, ultimately, the Hinton are buying into what we want to do as well. So I'll just go back to the presentation. Is that back to the presentation?
Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you. Okay. So we're looking at entering the Cheltenham Youth League. I've had 2 meetings with them, and it's almost, they're more than happy to accept us. The teams that are in there at the moment, as you can see, different to say last season where Cinderford, where a lot of our boys played. And in those games there that I was just shown on screen, what is quite ironic is there's probably off the top of my head, I would say there's 8 or 9 of those boys are now playing. Obviously, Mark Derricott's at Hereford. And then you've got Jake, Lloydie, Harley Morris, Freddie Fox, all these lads that are playing step 6 or above, and they're 18, 19 now. So it proves that it can work by putting them in the league. We went into a Midland Junior Premier League. We're now looking at going in the Cheltenham Floodlit League, because obviously last season without having an 18s, it was great because I got to go and watch a lot of under 18s football with obviously Jake playing, and playing in this league was very good. And as you can see, it changes every year. Cinderford won it 2 years running because they had those types of boys coming through. Now they've got a different influx of players, but the teams in there that local to us, like your Pegasus, your Cheltenham Saracens, your Lydneys, your Tuffleys, Malvern, Westfields. So there's good competitive teams in there, which again, guys, I think is brilliant. And the league, I've got to confirm with them by February if this is what we want to do and if we're going to put a side into it, which I'll come on towards the end. But again, this links in with what we're doing with the college program, because I have put this out there tonight for some of our college lads to attend if they wanted to watch the Zoom, because obviously some of our current college lads, our first years, play for Westfields and Peggy and all the Malvern, etc. So I've said to them that we're potentially going to do an under 18s team next year, and of course it's got their attention, which is great. But again, it links into the college program, which we're linked with at Hereford and Ludlow College in Hereford. And again, whoa, blimey, that's going quicker than I thought. Again, these are just to give you a snapshot for guys that, listen, when I'm going to be going into schools to deliver these presentations, these are the sort of jobs that you can get outside of the football area that we want to, look into going and doing. And all of them, I could show you an example for each and every one of them of jobs that have got through the college program that we've done. And since we've come on, obviously it creates a little bit more as well. To give you a bit of an idea on the courses, because I know there's always a stigma around BTECs that used to be that, oh, it's not the same as your A-levels. And I understand all that because your education is first and foremost. And I'm never going to say any different to that. But it has changed a lot in the last probably 10 years, the last 5 years, as everything evolves. Okay, so it is equivalent. It does get you a number of UCAS points that can get you to university. For example, and I'll use Jake as an example, he didn't have enough UCAS points to go to Hartbury. He was short by about, I think he needed 112, which a lot of universities, a couple of lads went to Cardiff. He needed 112 to do the course he wanted to do at Hartbury. But because he'd done his coaching badges under us whilst he was through 16 to 18, his level 1, moving on to his level 2, etc., that helped with his interview and got him over the line. And they put him through, saying on the basis of that, they would pass it through as okay to go and do the course. Again, you get the gym membership, which obviously you all want to do anyway. I think the biggest bonus is, and this is where we beat, when we're competing with teams, colleges like Hartbury, Hereford is nothing like Hartbury College, and I won't sell it any different than that. And Jake's there, myself at the moment. But where we've got it different is we play these clubs, these other EFL clubs. Hartbury don't play these types of playing. They play Cardiff Uni, they play Bath and West Uni, they play Hales Owen University. They'll play other universities, whereas we play professional clubs. So it does help and it does sell it. And it does make our job as a football club obviously a lot easier. Again, with the program, we do all this. Obviously, I've got Will in with me all the time, and Daz comes in to help us as well in terms of with the 19. So we do the individual learning programs, we do the man of the matches, we do the KPIs. No different to what you guys do now with your 16s. But again, we probably have more time to deliver it then because we're in 3 times a week with you. Again, we do the ILPs as it's shown on screen. This is Harry Creed, who was our skipper the first year, going into Wags, who's the skipper this year. Again, we do all of this, we go through it, and I'm due to deliver that at the college in 10 days time or something like that for the following year. Again, we do the man of the matches, and listen, it's a certificate, and I know that probably the certificate doesn't mean a lot when you're 18 years old, but it's voted for by your peers. We try and make a little bit of a decent deal out of it because I think it's important. Unfortunately, Will decided he wanted to be in all the photos, so I had no choice, and we had to accept it because I wanted to keep him coaching. It's the only way you can keep him happy. And then we also look at doing, guys, is getting them to understand our KPIs in greater detail. And I use these KPIs, and I've used them for years and years and years throughout all my ventures, because I think there's no secret to them. They don't lie. And I know James is using it with his 15s this year and has found it very, very useful. And we try and use it. It gives them an idea of what we want to be the best that we can be. In terms of, you know, those are all the games, and then we give a predicted where we think we should be, where we want to be. And you've got to be honest, you know, when we were predicting, you know, our first KPI after our first season, you can see our first two results, losing 5-0 and 5-1. And to be honest, we were so lucky that was 5-0 and not a 1 in front of it. But when you play some of these teams, like we lost before Christmas, we played Swindon A team, who were in the same league as Chelsea, etc. We lost 14-0 to them, and we were lucky it was 14. They were that good. But we learned so much that day. And at the bottom end of it was Will's fault anyway that day, not mine, because he was in charge. I just was watching, so it's not a problem from my point of view. Again, we keep all the stats on the players, so as we can go through it with them week after week after week, etc. We go through the individual stats, so the shooting stats, so it's brought up on screen, and we do this in the classroom with them for in possession on shots for us, and then out against us, so we can work on the keepers, what their ratio is, defenders getting blocks in, etc. So we try and go through as many KPIs as we can. We also do the individual ones, and this is what a lot of the players look at. And again, we go to our KPIs, the first screen, and this is based on Harry Kane when he first started, you know, probably about 7 or 8 years ago. He would work on 60% target. 3 shots on target should lead to a goal. That's why it's 3 or less. Now, the argument you could be is Soy or somebody could turn around and say, well, I'm no Harry Kane, although he probably thinks he is, but I'm no Harry Kane. But then again, you ain't playing against Virgil van Dijk. That said, if you're playing against Cucurella, you probably would get 80%, to be fair, and probably score every shot. But again, it just gives you the same. They're not playing against the players that we're playing, and so it's all relevant, guys, and it does make much of a difference. In terms of the matrices, this is for staff, but also for staff, it's for the players, so they can kind of see what we're looking at with them. So we have a pathway where we target the players. So we would target which ones can get into step 6, step 7, which ones can get step 7, step 8. And this is what we try and do with all our college players, because I think it's hugely important. I won't go through all of this, but again, what we tend to try and do, similar to what we've done with all of you guys, is clip some of the goals. Bearing in mind, this is a goal now playing out from the back, and trust me, as will vouch and Daz, that it is hard to try and get some of these lads to do this because they haven't been coached this way before. But we try and do it even at this level that, you know, we're struggling, etc. But we still try and play out from the back because it's our ethos and our philosophy of the club. I won't go through all the clips, guys, because I could be here forever. What I will show as well is that we do analyze some of the sessions at Vicky Park. This is obviously Vic Park, and we try and video them, and then we can break them down in terms of, this would be a simple one. This is no different what Will would do with you guys at 16s, the pattern of play that we try and break in through, etc. We would then video clip it with the guys. We would then talk it through with them. So
okay, little pattern.
No, shut up, Bev. Okay, so again, I'm drawing the lines with them as on screen as I'm going through it. And I would talk it through with them just so they get an idea of what we're trying to get, guys. But again,
middle of the goal.
The great thing is,
okay,
shush, Bev, we've got time to do that with the college program because we're in, and I'll show you the college timetable in a minute.
College program opportunities are made.
Again, we do it when it's in games, as you've all had in video sessions with Will and with James and right through our age groups. We're trying to bring this in. I know Jace has done it with his 12s, which again is fantastic.
James Wagstaff marking their centre forward.
So I'll just show you this clip.
What we said to James is, listen, if anything comes out into that area, if you're going to be first, you've got to win the ball. If not, you keep their striker facing their goal and force him to play back. If you go and try and win it, you have to be 100% you are going to win it. You follow what happens. James thinks he's going to win it. He's going in. Their striker's clever, just rolls him. And that's the trouble when you get so tight that the striker will do that to you. Again, now we get it back to our keeper. Josh's feet.
Okay, don't need to show that anymore. So it just gives you an idea, and we do this with them. But the great thing is, and the videos, once they've been uploaded, are shared to the players on YouTube, as we do throughout. But the players then analyze the game themselves. So I want them to clip their own parts and come back to me. And it's great. When I talked to the players today about when we lost 14-0 to Swindon, and I asked her how many of them had actually seen it, because we shared the goals on our social media platforms this morning. And they said, yeah, unfortunately, they thought they were bad on the day. I thought they were awful. Will thought they were awful. We were awful, but they were also very good. But watching it back, they saw the opposition's movement and everything around it. And it was great because they learned from that, as we all do. So there's your typical standard week at the college, guys. Obviously, you're in on a Monday, do your college work. Tuesday, we come in the afternoon. The timing's on the left-hand side. We come in for 2 hours on a Tuesday afternoon. Wednesday is game day. That could be, this Wednesday, next Wednesday, sorry, we got Exeter away. So again, on a day like that, we will be leaving the college about 9 o'clock. So they would be out on lessons in the morning. They would have to make these up. So don't think, by doing this program, oh, great, I'd have to do my courses. Because if you don't do your work, you don't get to play with the football. We've agreed that with the college. That was part of what we wanted, because we think it's important. Thursdays is their day off, and then Friday they're back in for a session with us in the afternoon. And again, like I say, throughout the season, we don't miss a session. We don't miss a session. If it's raining, if it's heavy, we still go and train. If not, we'll have a classroom session, and we use it to full advantage. And again, I'll touch on some of the things that the boys have done since. Another great one is obviously the end of season game that we play the other college team over in Cheltenham on the first team pitch, which is still a great experience. That's last year's photo of the boys when we played, and we narrowly lost 2-1, which again was a brilliant achievement when you consider they've been running for 8 or 9 years. And I know it changes every 2 years, the intel of the boys, or the influx of the players coming in every year, but great effort to go and do that. And it was close at the end, very close. We nearly snatched a late one, but again, just playing on the pitch, the whole experience in and around the change room was great, which was brilliant, to be fair. Pathways and possible progression routes out of what we do within the college program, within the under-18s pathway, is obviously the American way. We've obviously got Nathan Wheel, who's out there at the moment. Obviously, hopefully Hayden's in here tonight, and Nate did a bit with the 16s last night, but he's actually playing out in America at the moment, overlooking the Mississippi River, and probably knowing Nate, a lot of his footballs and shots have ended up in there, quite a lot, I would have thought. But again, going back to the boys and the pathway. So Connor on the left-hand side of your screen is now coaching back in with us. He was a second year last year, so he's now coaching back in with us. You got James there, bottom screen. He's now also coaching with us, and he's the current skipper this season. So again, there's pathways into what we want to do. I asked James and Harry Creed for when we go into schools if they could give us a little quote about what we're doing, because, to sell the program to people who believe in what we're doing. And I said to them, be honest. I don't want be honest. And in fairness, they've said that. And, like we told them about their expectations about potentially where they can be, but it's the closest thing that they said that they could ever get to wanting to be a pro footballer, the way we try and look after the players. Harry Creed and Harry, and I haven't put this on there, but he got on enough UCAS points to go to Cardiff University, which was great. And again, he's loved the experience. He's come back this season. He's come and watched us when he's home. And some of the lads from last year that aren't in the program still come and watch us. They love the environment that much. And in fact, I think Harry was one of the first on New Year's Eve, at 1:10 when you get all the messages come through. He was one of the first ones. So it shows on what we're trying to do is around that better people, better person model that we try and do. So, guys, I'm coming towards the end of it. Does the program work? The college program? Yeah, 100%. Building an under-18s into it massively. I think that's going to be an exciting part. So the dilemma for you guys now is for next season. We need to know if we can run an under-18. So by that, out of the 18 members of your squad, we need to know we're going to put in your group chat 3 options. And, the under-18s, the college one can wait if you're not sure about that and you need more answers, more questions. You've got to go and see other unis, etc., colleges, sorry. That's fine. And also give me a shout if you need any more information on any of it. But what we need for our under-18s is a definite whether we're going to play football for us next season or not. So if you look on the left-hand side, so we've got all the players there on the left-hand side. Option 1 will be the Cheltenham Youth League. Do you want to do that? Just say yes or no. And I'll put a number 1 in there and then I'll know the things. Are you interested in our program? And I know some of you have done this. Majority have done this. Not everyone. some naughty steps for some, but majority of you have done it. Okay. Again, put yes, no, would like to know more, whatever. And again, or are you interested in the pathway football into men's football with Hinton, with the pathway that we're trying to produce? Because again, and a big thing, I had a meeting with a club last night when I watched our under-17s play Walsall, and then I had a meeting with the club. The big thing we got from that meeting was, and this was a semi-pro club at a step 5 level, pushing for step 4. Their under-18s have lost a couple of players to Hereford under-18s because they've been sold the dream that you're going to play for Hereford FC. Okay. We will never do that to you. We will never lie to you. If I think you can get to a level, then we will tell you where we think you're at. And I think this is where it's important. You might think this men's pathway football, Hinton, step 7 and step 8. Well, if you go into step 7 and step 8, you should start in either, in my opinion, all U16s. Okay. And I'll give you an example in terms of Jake. When Jake was going to come to Newham, before I went there, he was going to go to Peggy. And I said to him at that stage in his career, because he just finished under-18s football, you won't start, mate. I agree, it's a great level. You're going in at step 6, but you won't start. You will be on the bench. So you've got to gauge it that you're going to start. So when I took the Newham job, he came in and he didn't start because daddy's the coach, although mummy would have kicked me out otherwise, but he didn't start for that. He had to earn his right. And out of 27 games between then and the end of the season, my plan for him would have been to have played 15 games. He ended up playing 22, which was because we kept having injuries and he ended up playing more games than that. But it's about that experience of actually playing. And this is where we'll always be honest with player. We talked about a player last night, and I actually know this player. And I said, he's better than where he's gone, but he wasn't getting in the first team where he was. And it's that fine line, and it's trusting the people that you work with. And you've all worked with Lloydie longer than, anything. Will, you've worked with Will the last 18 months, 12 months, and, you've seen the development that he's had on you, and it's fantastic. It really is. And you guys know me. We will always have your best interest at heart, even if it's negative to what we want to do as a football club. Bottom line is, we will treat you right. We will be honest with you. So that pathway into there, I think, is a fantastic idea. We have got, like I said on that screen, there's 3 options on this, but in the options in terms of what we were offered as a club, there are going to be other pathways. So if somebody excels beyond step 7, we will have avenues to put you in at clubs. So do not worry about that. That will be a nice dilemma that I've got to do that. So don't worry about that. So again, guys, I will put this on there. We will put this on the group chat. I will put option 1, Cheltenham Youth League, option 2, under-19 EFL program, option 3, men's pathway. Just say yes, no to it, them, and I will fill this out. What I am going to demand of you, demand's probably the wrong one, is that I get an answer within 10 days, because I think that's massively important, guys. I think it's hugely important. Just remember, because you are 17 next year, some of you will still be 16. If you're playing men's football at step 7 and 8, that's phenomenal. It really is. You have got a chance then of getting to step 5 by 19, 20. And you might all think the one biggest thing I've learned in my life, okay, and it's the same with any walk of life, I believe, is we all know what we want, but we want it now. We live in a world where you can get everything now. So if I want something tomorrow because my laptop's wrong, I'll ring up, I'll get it delivered tomorrow. We live in that world now. But when you're doing your career pathway and your football pathway, we want it now. We want to be in the first team now. It will come. It won't be when you want it, because you want it now, but it will come. If you trust in the people that you work with, that pathway will come. We will open the doors. You've got to take the opportunity. And if we think you're good enough, we will put you in through that opportunity and you will take it. So just trust in the process, because it's growing what we're doing. It's getting huge and bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's evolving, and which is great. So if it's not even only playing, it's like we said about Connor and James that are doing our under-8s. We've potentially got some games lined up for them soon. They play on a Saturdays. So again, their job now, which is coaching, clashes with that. But we'll work around that. That's not a problem. But those are the great opportunities that do come from the program that we're doing. Guys, I've talked so much now, again. We're down to the last 2.5 minutes. I will ask James, Daz, Will, Lloydie, any of you want to say anything that I haven't said or missed out? Because I'm sure I missed something.
No, I think you said it all, mate. I was going to say about the age, about not wanting it too quick, but you just touched on that, so that's what I was going to say. So
Brilliant, mate. Thank you.
it's all good for me, mate.
Brilliant.
But like, I will say, we do need to know pretty quick.
Yeah, it's got to be
get a
within
team
the
league.
within the 10 days. You know what we're like, guys. We'll nag you if you don't do Timo. We'll nag you about this as well. Will anything from you?
18s as well, more than anything. That's the most important at this stage for me.
Yeah, 100%.
No, mate, I think you covered it. Yeah.
Thank you, Will. Thank you, mate. James.
No, I just echo everything you said, mate. I think there's plenty of. I'll just re-echo what you've said about the opportunities. There's plenty of opportunities at various levels coming up. So yeah, the future is exciting.
Brilliant, brilliant. Daz, you on there?
Don't get him speaking. We've only got a minute left.
I'll behave yourself. No, listen, I think I just think Hinton's a great opportunity as a club as well. It's a great setup, really good pitch. Yeah, I think it's all there for them if they want to, go forward from here.
And just to let you all know, and thanks for touching on that, Taz, because just to let you all know, in the meetings that I'm having with Cheltenham, like they're playing a big part in where they want me to go next. So, what we're trying to do in terms of helping all our coaches and players with their development, Cheltenham are doing it with me now. So the clubs that I'm speaking to, they're speaking to. So I speak with Tim, the academy manager, who also speaks with the board, the first team, about what we're doing with some of our academy players, loaning, etc. And they're all aware of this Hinton. So it's not just us. The whole board are well aware of the Hinton project. And it's a project that they want to look at as a football club, potentially can get investment. Can we get them into step 6? I remember Hinton when I was playing all those years ago, they were at where the Westfields are, etc. So, these are things that can grow. You could be part of that. So I'm into the last minute. Guys, thank you so much. I will send this out tonight. This option 1s, 2 and 3. And we're going to give you loads of grief if you don't get it back to us. So if there's anything else, that'll be it, guys. Thank you all so much for attending and have a great weekend and good luck tomorrow.
Good luck, guys. Take care.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Andy.